wonderful turnouts here in Iowa and in New Hampshire and all over the country. And by now we've talked to some 400,000 people. We have some of the largest turnouts here in Iowa and New Hampshire, all over America. And when we began the campaign, we made a very important decision. We said that, look, I don't represent the interests of corporate America. I don't represent the billionaire class. I don't want their money. We are not going to have a super PAC. Some of the media guys, they said, well, it's an interesting idea, but obviously you can't raise any money. You don't know what's going on in contemporary politics, because what politics today is about is sitting in a room, not with 1,000 people here in Dubuque. Why would you want to waste your time talking to 1,000 people when you can sit in a room with 10 people and come out with $3 million for your super PAC? That's politics today. That's the belief. And we said, well, I'm not going to sit in a room with 20 people raising millions of dollars. I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to ask the American people for their help. And you know what's happened? In the last 7 months, we have received 800,000 individual contributions. That is a higher number, more people, than any non-presidential campaign in history. And you know what the average contribution is? It's about $30. $30.
All right.
So we're bringing forth an interesting idea. I don't know how it's going to play out. But the idea is, yes, you actually can run a winning campaign, a serious campaign, with the support of ordinary people and not being dependent on millionaires, billionaires, and a super PAC. That's what we're doing. And the other thing that we have done is also interesting. And that is, I remember when I was out on the West Coast, some guy came up to me. He said, you know, Bernie, what I like about your campaign is that you are treating us as if we were intelligent human beings. Now that's a radical concept unto itself. In other words, you know, I know about polls, and I know about a lot of things, and we know how you can manipulate people and do all of that stuff. But what we are trying to do, which you see is running a not very fancy type of operation, all that we are trying to do is discuss the most important issues facing the American people. Now, unfortunately, to a large degree, what media sees campaigns as about is soap operas. You know, what stupid thing happened on the campaign trail yesterday? What some dumb thing that somebody said? Or how much money did somebody raise or all that stuff? That's not relevant to your lives. What a campaign should be about is you, not me. You, not Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And I know this is a very radical idea. Maybe the campaign should be about the American people and not Donald Trump. I know. The worst place with the media having said that, but what do we do? What the campaign is about, in a democratic society, what should the campaign be about? It's not hard. You know, if you're not feeling well, you got a problem, you go to the doctor, and you want the doctor to make a good diagnosis of your problems and prescribe a treatment to make you feel better. You know, in a democratic society, that's pretty much the same process we should undertake. What are the problems? Why are we not doing well? What do we need to do well? And let's go forward. Now, the problem is that a lot of these issues are more complicated than a 6-second soundbite. And a lot of the issues that we choose to raise end up in conflict with corporate America and the corporate media. But you know what? We're going to talk about those issues anyhow.
Hey!
What the campaign is about is a belief that the American people, in a very deep sense, are tired of establishment politics because they see too many politicians simply going out raising as much money as they can to get elected rather than worry about the needs of the American people. And the American people are tired of the economic establishment, because what they are seeing is you working longer hours for low wages, and almost all of the new income and wealth being created going to the top 1%. And what the American people are also tired of is media establishment, because they see a lot of stuff on media, but not very often do they see the reality of America, the pain of America, what people are really going through. And so this campaign is about. This campaign is trying to be honest and lay the issues out on the table. And when I talk about the major issues facing this country, I begin by talking about an issue that I am proud to say is now being discussed a little bit more than it used to. And that is the issue of income and wealth inequality, which to my mind is one of the more profound moral issues of our time, economic issues of our time, and political issues. When we think big, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. There is nothing that I have discussed with you this afternoon that is radical. There is nothing that is out of the mainstream of American society. There is nothing that the vast majority of the American people do not support. So please, I don't want anybody to tell me that the United States of America cannot join the rest of the world guaranteeing health care to all people as a right. Please don't tell me that we cannot have the best child care and pre-K system in the world rather than a dysfunctional one. Don't tell me, as my Republican colleagues insist, that we have to cut Social Security when in fact we have to expand Social Security. Don't tell me that with all of the energy and intelligence and all the great scientists we have in this country that we cannot lead the world working with China and Russia and India and other countries in transforming our energy system away from fossil fuels. Do not tell me that in this great nation we cannot bring our people together and fight back successfully against those who want to divide us. Don't tell me that we cannot create a nation in which all people, white, black, Hispanic, Asian American, Native American, cannot have the full protection of the law and live with justice and dignity. Don't tell me that our gay brothers and sisters cannot get married and have children. The things we can accomplish. This is the nation that we can become when we do not allow our opponents to divide us, whether we're black or we're white, whether we're Mexican, whether we're born in this country, whether we're gay, we're straight, man, woman, whatever. When we stand together and fight for a nation that works for all of its people, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. And I look forward to bringing that day together with you. Thank you all very much. Do we have some microphones?
Yes, we do.
Where are the mics?
There's one back there.
I don't see the mic person back there. Okay, let's start right there and we'll go to the other side. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
That is awkward. But my name is Bryn. I'm new-ish to Dubuque. I moved out here in June from Michigan originally. And when our governor, beautiful Mr. Branstad, is working on privatizing Social Security and Medicaid. I think Social Security is wrong, but Medicaid. Anyways, this past week was Mental Health Awareness Week, and then it culminated with Human Rights Day. And so throughout my experience here in Dubuque, I've learned a lot about how our human rights are violated when it comes to health care. A few months ago, I actually went to the hospital to receive help, and they didn't have enough beds for me. And so I was sent home and told, you know, if you need help, just contact a crisis hotline. And so I'm speaking today. It's a personal story, but I want to be an advocate for those who can't or don't have the ability to speak. And so I just want to thank you for your advocacy.
Bryn, thank you for standing up and raising an issue of enormous consequence. Not only, Bryn is absolutely right, not only do we have a major health care crisis in this country in terms of people being uninsured or underinsured, we also have, on top of all of that, a major mental health crisis in America. And frankly, it is beyond my comprehension, not that I want to get involved in Iowa politics, but for the governor to try to privatize Medicaid makes zero sense to me at all. So, Bryn, I do not want to see a situation when people need mental health treatment being turned away. Truth is, I get calls in my office in Vermont, and I think probably people in every state get the same calls, of people who are in desperate need of mental health treatment today, not 2 months from today. And therefore we need a revolution in the way we do mental health, so it is there when people need it, regardless of their income or the status of their insurance.
Hello. I can't help but think they didn't want to give me the mic. But the irony is that I'm right with her because my son is in MHI and he's given Thorazine, which in 1970 they proved that it caused brain damage. Okay, so I'm really not the enemy. What I want to ask you is, how do you change a corrupt system within that system? How do you get away from the two-party? Nader tried it and didn't even get on the ticket.
Well, for a start, I'm running in the Democratic caucus and primary process. Hope you all know that. Because on caucus night, I need you to come on out. I made a decision, and at the beginning of this campaign. I am the longest serving independent in the history of the United States Congress. But I made the decision for a dozen different reasons that I would pursue the Democratic nomination. I am proud to tell you that the last poll had us up by 10 points in New Hampshire, and I think we're gaining here in Iowa, and with your help, we're going to win this state.
Hi, Bernie. My name is Max, and my question is about the United Nations. So, this past September, Saudi Arabia was chosen to lead a UN panel on human rights. Do you feel that having countries with abysmal human rights records leading panels on human rights undermines the role and dignity of the United Nations?
Yes. I think we have got to, it's very easy to beat up on the United Nations. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have people talking at each other and yelling at each other rather than dropping bombs on each other.
I'm Lisa, I'm a student, and I'm really interested in peace and justice issues, and specifically the U.S.'s role throughout the world. And I was just wondering if you could clear up, I'm not familiar with your drone policy. Drones inspire a lot of fear and hatred toward the U.S., especially with the recent bombing of Doctors Without Borders. And I was wondering what your presidency would do to, stop all of that senseless killing.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you.
Drones are a weapon that have been used in many cases, and you're talking about the Doctors Without Borders is a perfect example. Far too often, what drone attacks have ended up doing is killing innocent men, women, and children, or in that case, an important medical facility for one of the bravest organizations in the world, Doctors Without Borders. So I think we need to be doing a much, much, much better job in making sure that drones accomplish what they're supposed to accomplish. We have not done that, so I think we need to review our drone policy in a very significant way.